Okay, let's do section 5.3 called standard deviation. And standard deviation is just another measure of the trend of a data. Okay, so standard deviation, or this symbol here, which we call sigma, the symbol here. Okay, so everybody that's in statistics know this symbol called sigma is what we use for to signify standard deviation. It's the measure of how spread out a data set is around the mean. So actually, this spread out, to me, it makes a little more sense to think in terms of how close a data set is around the mean. Okay, so if you've got a bunch of numbers that are in a set and you figure out what the mean or the average is, and the standard deviation is how close are those numbers to the mean? How close are they to the middle? Okay. And it says here that a low standard deviation means the data is close to the mean. And that means that your data is very consistent. Because if you have a low standard deviation, it means all the numbers are not that far off the mean. But if your standard deviation is high, it means that your data is scattered further away from the mean. All right. Now, you can calculate standard deviation by, it's this long process here. So we got to find the mean, we got to find the difference of the means, you got to square them, you got to average it. Okay, we're not doing that, okay? We are going to go online to calculate the standard deviation. And when you are doing your quizzes and your final exam, you can calculate standard deviation online as well. Okay, so we're going to go to the web page. And in chapter 5, I have a link here to the basic stats calculator. We're going to use that to calculate standard deviation. Okay, so this is what it looks like. Okay, so the first example here we're going to go through says that Rhonda works in human resources at a car plant, and she records the number of overtime hours worked in a month by 35 employees. Okay, so this 1.5 means that the first employee worked 1.5 overtime hours. This person worked 2. This person worked 8.5. This person did the most. This person, the 35th employee, it looks like, worked 12 overtime hours. Okay, so A says determine the mean and the standard deviation of the number of overtime hours to the nearest tenth. So determine the mean, we would need to add up all the numbers and divide that sum by 35. But again, we're going to use that online calculator. Standard deviation, again, is a very tedious process. It means that we would have to subtract every single one of these from the average, square it, take the average of the squares. It's quite complicated. Instead, we're going to use this calculator, okay? So what I want you to do is every single one of these numbers, you need to type into this calculator, and then we're just going to press submit data. Below here, it gives us the mean. It also gives us the standard deviation. So in preparation for this video, I went ahead and typed all the hours in this little sticky note here. Let's see, I'm going to copy and paste just to save time. Okay, so that's all that data from here. Okay, so I'm going to take the data, I'm going to press submit data, and this nice online calculator is going to do all the work. So my mean is 4.7. That means the average overtime hours. And we are going to say that our mean, which we can say with an X with a line over it, our mean was 4.7. And our standard deviation, or sigma, is standard deviation. This long number, let's call it 2.56. Okay, so that's actually relatively low, not too bad. And that's all we need to know in terms, because that's all it's asking, mean and standard deviation. Oh, it says to the nearest tenth. Okay, so we would call this one 2.6. Nearest tenth means 1 decimal place. Okay, example number 2 says Randall wants to adopt a cat from a local animal shelter. He is looking to adopt a Persian or a Burmese cat. He searched 10 different internet sites for the lifespan of each breed, and his results are shown. So I guess Randall thinks that if he's going to take the time to have a pet cat, he wants it to live as long as possible. So he searched 10 different internet sites, and this is what those sites said: that a Persian cat would live 11 years, 13 years, etc. And Burmese is down here. Okay, so it says, which breed of cat should Randall adopt and why? So what we're going to do is find the standard deviation, because what you would want here, if you were trying to determine what kind of cat to adopt, you'd want a cat that lives as long as possible. So let's go Persian and Burmese. So we should find out what the average is and what the standard deviation is. So how long on average do these cats live, and what's the standard deviation? Okay, so again, I have a sticky note. I typed out all of these numbers into my sticky note right here, just to save time. I'm going to go into my online calculator. And for those life lengths, the average or the mean is 14.6. And notice the symbol they're using, mu, which is kind of funny because we're talking about cats. Sometimes we use this symbol for average as well. It's called mu. So the Persian average was 14.6. And the standard deviation was 2.29. Okay, let's do the same for the Burmese, and then we can compare them. Go back to my, oops, that was Burmese. Okay, I have to change my data. Let's see. Okay, so based on my sticky note, I've already done Burmese. I thought it was Persian. Okay, I've already done Burmese. So I still have to do Persian. So 11, 13, there we go. Let's go to my online calculator and let that do all the work for me. Okay, so Persian's average is 14.3. And the standard deviation, 1.79. All right, so let's analyze what this means. So it looks like we should buy a Burmese because they live on average 0.3 of a year longer, but the standard deviation is quite a bit higher. So this lower standard deviation implies that it's consistent, more consistent anyway. This lower standard deviation means that this average is more consistent than this average. It means that on average, Persian cats live closer to the length of 14.3 years than Burmese. This 14.6 could have got pulled up, I guess, by this 18. Look at how it had an 18 and an 11. Okay, so it had a real high number and it had a lower number. Whereas if you look at the Persian, the lowest is 11. The highest is 18. Same thing, but look at all these 13, 14s, okay? Right around the middle. So, which breed of cat should Randall adopt and why? Well, you could say Burmese because on average they do live longer, but it's not a lot longer. I would say the Persian because they consistently live an average. Oh, come on. AG of 14.3 years. So yes, you could argue that the Burmese lives longer, but you've got way more of a chance of the Burmese to live quite a bit less. You also have the chance of the Burmese living quite a bit more because this standard deviation is less consistent because it's higher. That means that the numbers are higher and lower around the mean. Okay? So if you're going to answer questions about standard deviation, you are looking for numbers that are lower because it shows consistency. Okay? So good luck with your practice and ask questions as you need.